Are you an engineering manager or somebody that leads engineers and engineering teams? Have you ever gotten the quip, oh, he's just the grumpy guy? Have you ever heard somebody joking about the fact that, oh, you engineers are always so skeptical? You're walking into something called the feasibility trap, and I think it's something dangerous, and I think that we should avoid it, and I think it's an important conversation to have. Let's go. So, what is the feasibility trap? Well, the feasibility trap is the risk that many engineers run into, that you always end up being the person being the voice of feasibility. And over time, you learn, you get rewarded, and you start perceiving yourself as somebody that is primarily focused on things like feasibility, capability, and basically all of the ilities, reliability, scalability, etc. But you are primarily focused on can we do it? Can we make it stable? Can we make it fast, etc.? Not should we do it? The reason it's dangerous is the industry has changed over the last decade or so in how we perceive the role of product management, the role of design, the role of insights, the role of these folks that are supposed to take into account the user and be the voice of the user. The industry has changed in this way because we know that if we build great things, if we understand our customers, we have a greater chance of getting product market fit. We have a greater chance of getting the product out into the market, outsold, have users, and be successful. With all of that, I think the traditional role of engineers as being sort of the at the top of the shit pile in R&D organizations is changing a little bit, and instead you're becoming many times caught being the person that represents feasibility, being the person that's supposed to say, we have this thing figured out, essentially what it is we want to build. Now, can we get it done? How long is this going to take to do it? This is dangerous territory if you have aspirations in your career at a seat at the executive table, at a VP role, at being more senior, at climbing in hierarchy. And it is dangerous because the discussion at that table really starts with the strategy. It starts with what is it that we're doing and why. You talk about mission, vision, objective, strategy. Feasibility, I would say, isn't maybe a second order concern, but it rarely comes in at the start of those conversations. And so if you label yourself as the person that focuses only on that, you're not going to be part of the first order concern. The reason I think it's pernicious as well is because if you're labeled like that to others, you're going to label yourself in that way as well. And you're going to start perceiving yourself as a feasibility guy. You're going to start limiting the conversations where you care about versus where you zoom out in a meeting. And over time, you're going to get better and better at understanding how do we get it done, and worse at understanding should we get it done. And if you do that, you're going to eliminate an important skill set that you need to have in your arsenal as a more senior manager. It's almost as if this feasibility trap represents a small version of what I would think of as a mini MBA, which is really learning to think about the business and learning to think about users. One of the things that I see folks that have a strong MBA background are very strong at, that a lot of engineers aren't, are in terms of articulating and formulating strategy and thinking strategically about why and about the value of something, and not just jumping into any idea that we have because it's an interesting technical problem or because it's something that seems like something that we could do, but really zooming in on that why question. And you need to train yourself to do that if you want to be a more senior leader, even inside of engineering. You can't leave feasibility as the only territory that you play in, and you can't leave answering why to somebody else. Like, that's not going to be helpful for you specifically. Connected to this is you also need to learn to speak the language of value. It's not just enough that you actually think in value, and you also need to learn to articulate things in terms of user value. This becomes extra important if you have folks viewing you as the feasibility person, the person that's always going to be talking about, can we get it done? Then you need to make a conscious effort to try to change how you're being perceived by speaking in language of user value and changing your thought process from, hey, the CEO says that we need to get this done, the VP says that we need to get this done, now I'm going to break it down, and start really thinking about how do I dissect the thing that I'm being asked to do from the lens of, should we actually even do it? This is a short one, but I wanted to put it together because I wanted you to think about one important question about your career, which is, are you in the rooms that you want to be in? Are you in the rooms that you want to be in right now? Are you in the rooms that you want to be in 5 years? And if you're not, what is it going to take to move you to those rooms? What is it going to take to make you seem like a candidate for the job that you actually want? And if you're moving up the hierarchy in engineering, if you're looking to make the jump into more of a general management role, if you're interested in starting your own thing, you're going to have to learn to speak in the language of the user, and you're going to have to learn to think in more than just pure feasibility. That's everything for me. Thank you.